level accountability for CX is increasing. There's a continued focus on the board on CX outcomes, and given its importance in driving organizational growth and delivering bottom line results, it is certainly the number one matrix for organizational performance. Thus, CX leaders are conscious that enterprise-wide CX strategy should be conceptualized at the board level and implemented enterprise-wide. This helps organizations ensure their CX strategy is comprehensive, transparent, and easily managed and implemented. So, what are the key factors to keep in mind when designing and implementing your CX strategy? Joining us today to share his insights is Hany Mokhtar, the customer experience and digital transformation world-class expert and head of CX at Mobily, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Hany is a world-famous CX master and renowned experienced thought leader. Hany is a top business executive and an author of global scientific and business publications and magazines. He comes with the extensive experience of more than 22 years in leading roles in customer experience, marketing, process reengineering, contact centers, and digital transformation. Having successfully led diversified industries through a wide range of challenges, solutions, and propositions, makes his participation today exciting for all of us in these disruptive times. So welcome to CX Live, Hany.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and it's my pleasure.
Well, so as we see, clearly, post-pandemic CX has transitioned to be a boardroom issue in organizations. When we speak to the C-suite, we can easily see investments being made in CX by most organizations. Hany, how have you seen CX mature in the region in the last year, especially in the UAE and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
Well, let me tell you, with the pandemic, the situation of the customer centricity has escalated progressively to be at the center of every organizational operations. Because basically, if you don't make your customer centricity your prime vector, your operations will fail. Especially with the pandemic, people are very much focusing on the internet, for example. People are very much dependent on your delivery. Let's assume they are purchasing devices, routers, etc. They're very much reliant on your support. If they are complaining from a disconnection, bill clarity, payment, etc. When you think of the multiple dimensions that the customer is trying to manage his life dependent on his service provider, customer centricity is turning to be a prime vector. And for those organizations who could not cope with this and who did not plant the seed early ahead, not at the start of the pandemic, because this seed will require time and it's a journey basically. It was much harder for them, despite the desire and the appetite to expedite and accelerate. It was much tougher. So luckily enough, from one angle, the CITC, which is a Commission on IT and Telecommunications, the regulatory body, has already planted the seed early ahead in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as directions from the CITC on the consumer rights. And at the same time, this was met by the will from selected and key service providers in the kingdom and even in, I can name a number in the Gulf region. Whom very well received this and started to work on it with a progressive manner, to an extent where the pandemic, despite its challenging fact, it turned to be a blessing on particular customers when it comes to the support and the service. We have seen initiatives where the bill, you have to pay the bill. Of course, it is a mandate. However, relative easiness came from the credit and collection teams, understanding the pandemic situation. Sales team members delivering items to your home, where the customer says, well, you know what, if you could do me a human favor and buy me errands with you, or buy me milk, or buy me bread. And the sales, they said, yeah, of course, we understand the situation and we will do that. Up to this level, things, customization happened, deals and discussions with YouTube, how to manage the experience so that the quality stays on the right level. Working with the education sector so that we give children and students the prime quality that they would need to continue education. So I believe it has been a very positive uptake in the experience during the pandemic and post-pandemic.
Yeah. And I guess what you're talking about in terms of customer centricity and also the social element and the empathetic element of the CX journey became quite evident. And telcos generally are quite advanced in their CX journey, both with CX strategy and technology adoption. And given that you are part of this fast moving sector of the economy, according to you, what implementations will be game changers for telcos in the present times?
So basically, the digital transformation, however, it has been under the spot of importance. Everybody is saying it's critical and important. It was not actualizing with the right pace. It was kind of slow, lingering up and down. With the pandemic and post-pandemic, the situation turned to be a must. It's now a fundamental. So everybody has expedited from one angle. The other thing I would say, which is digitalizing the customer journey. So customer journeys were between traditional channels and digital channels and omni-channel, multi-channel. This synchrony that kept on trials on creating this synchrony between traditional channels and digital channels. Now it's happening with full focus and with the right pace. I would say it's not a slow pace, it's not a fast pace. This is the right pace that is happening. So the key here is digitalizing your customer journeys, because keeping the customer journeys at the traditional channels will make it much tougher for the customer, for the service provider, and for everybody.
Yeah. And you believe this is the new world order now, Hany?
Come again, sorry?
Do you feel this is the new world order now? Do you think digitized customer journeys will be, the game changer now going forward?
It will be the new foundation. So the previous foundation was marketing, trying to which is still a key prime vector as well. But now the name of the game is customer centricity. If you don't act with the right customer centricity, you're out of the game. Customer will have so many options, and you will find yourself. So we can think of big names that we have witnessed where they said, my product is the prime, and which is marketing, the previous marketing old focus. You know what, I have this device and nobody can do anything except with my permission. Now where are these names? They disappeared. With all due respect to all of them, if you don't put the customer as a prime, you will not be able. Now one key tool in changing the game, in making your customer, and there is a misconception. Somebody is telling you digital is the new era and artificial intelligence are the new era and this is the new game changer. Excuse me. These are important, but are important tools and means of making the right customer experience. So the customer is still the king. The customer experience is your name to win the game. And by having the ability to couple customer experience with digital transformation and artificial intelligence, this is going to be your new foundation. Moving forward, excelling with customers, it will be the name of the game changer, I would say.
Yeah, and it's interesting to say, how this has been overlooked for so many years. And now with the COVID, it kind of became quite central, and the only way that businesses could thrive and survive if they had to get through the tough times. And with that came the evolution of the future of work, the remote working environments, that put a lot of spotlight on employee experience. And we've seen, a lot of big companies having advocated stress management modules, work-life balance, mental well-being, which became a priority for companies globally. What are some of the innovations that are helping you provide the best employee experience at Mobily?
So again, having employees part of your equation, being employee-centric, or let me replace the word customer-centric with employee-centric, because he's the customer now, that's essential. And employee experience, as it look or sounds really easy and simple, it has multiple dimensions. Two key dimensions you have to consider: the employee as a customer of another department. So, for example, when you have your IT department helping you to make, to record or to use your PC, etc., you're a customer of another colleague department. But there is this customership, that the term customership, there is one term that I have invented. It's my own terminology, and I can claim it as a thought leader in this regard, which is called customership, the relation between a customer and a server. Somebody is serving someone, and we all are playing this role in life. In every situation in life, there is a client and a server in every situation. So in this particular, when you are asking IT to support you, you're the customer of IT. IT can go in a different, for example, can go to the marketing and request something, and the game will continue. But there is another dimension where we all as employees are customers of HR. And that's where HR need to think again about fundamentals, having an employee journey, knowing the employee journey, knowing the critical points, the critical moments for the employee, the joining moment, the exit moment, evaluation and appraisal that is famous. Everybody in life is not worried about bonus. Everybody is worried about his bonus and his appraisal and how is the process is happening. This is a critical. So before I move up the scale to the dimension of innovation, I want to settle the basics right. When you settle the basics right and people are accustomed to that level, then we can move all the way and think of innovations. However, artificial intelligence will not jump in the picture to help and make people's life easier. So mobile app, for example, it could be a mobile app for every organization, for the employees. But at the end of the day, if people are used to paper and pen, etc., that's a cultural change that is I would say that is needed. So employee experience in itself being actualized in the right mood, with the right focus is a key milestone, I would say, before moving to innovation.
And I think it's very true, Hany, that culture plays a very important part in most of these transformations. And the kind of massive disruptions and digitizations, these have been quite challenging for both internal as well as external customers. And we have seen a lot of companies struggling to adopt the new normal. Yet, where there have been great success stories, the credit has been passed to leadership and culture within the organizations. So, how have you managed, the CX leadership and culture within Mobily?
So basically, the focus is important to come top down, but at the same time, it has to diffuse bottom top. If you manage the synchrony between top down and bottom top, you will reach a success. One key vector and prime vector in this equation in the cultural transformation is the knowledge, the know-how. People they don't know, and you can ask the question. You can ask the question to so many high-level executives. Just tell them define customer experience. You might not find the definition. You might not find a specific definition from a scientific perspective that could be lacked, and you might find a definition that is hazy and not specific within the same organization. So one key aspect and fundamental that has to be in every culture change is the know-how. People should know what is scientific and what we call the adaptation of what is scientific to your situation. How do you adapt the scientific term to match your position, your organizational position, your organizational ambition, your strategy, etc. So basically, what we focused on primarily in full partnership with our HR department is educating everybody. So I can tell you in around 1.5 years, I have been educating and giving certifications, customer experience certified practitioners for more than 700 people in the organization, and I train people myself. We refuse to give and outsource the job to somebody else, knowing the criticality of the situation. And since there is a thought leader who can do the job, I'm happy to do it with my team. So now I can name for you staff, employees in the call center and in the retail shop whom are certified customer experience, not for the sake of the record and carrying a certification. They know how to practice customer experience. You have now proponents in the IT, in the technology, in the network teams, in the marketing, in the sales, in the HR, in the finance, in the care. These people are educated and they are certified customer experience practitioner. And they are carrying their certificate with the knowledge. They know how to do it, and many other milestones. But I'm mentioning this in specific because this has paved the way for a joint understanding, for a joint know-how, and a belief in the customer experience as a science and as a practice as well.
Yeah. That's actually quite amazing, and it's quite unique as well, Hany. We don't see a lot of CX leadership, talking about having trained volumes of people within their own organization. And 700 people is, a great testament to the hard work that you've put in to excel in customer experience. The question I would have is that, having done this training, have you seen a difference in the complaint management and the number of complaints that you saw coming in?
Yeah, of course, on the customer level, the way the emotional scores has been drastically different, because the level of people dealing with them, their awareness, their realization, because people were, they have the will and the wish to make the right customer experience, but they didn't know how. So when you combine both together, you have a super team. It's a super team. People, they know how, and they know why they are doing it, and they know what they shall do in order to make it happen. And this has been reflecting on the customer. And as such, if there were any bad apples, we were able to spot bad apples, because they learned, they know why, and they know what shall they do. So it was, from one angle, reflecting on the customer has certified that, you know what, this is a real change. I sense that there is something really powerful happening. Their managers and their seniors, they started to wow. On an additional very important gain that nobody could think of, now we have proponents and ambassadors within the operational teams who not only raising issues, they are putting solutions, and they are very collaborative in the design, because we have a continuous improvement cycle of redesigning and optimizing customer journeys. They are now ambassadors in the customer journey optimization cycle. And they are on the ground, so they are bringing powerful facts. They are certified, so they are scientific, and they are passionate, so they are bringing their passion to the equation.
So what's next, Hany?
Basically, we reached the level, in the pyramid. There is this customer experience pyramid. It's one of my own theories as well, but it's very important to know the objective of customer experience. The objective is to move dissatisfied customers from dissatisfaction to satisfaction, and satisfied customers to loyal, and loyal to advocates, which is fixing the basics when it comes to the experience management, and moving from fixing the basics to what we call synchrony and alignment. And the highest level is excellence, customer experience excellence. So now we're done with phase one, and we're moving towards phase two. We started the excellence and delight journey. So we are planning to exceed customer expectations selectively at particular moments, and at the same time doubling down on a sustainable basics experience, right?
And will you be leveraging any technology for this, Hany, or is it going to be more based on, the insights that you gather and personalizing those journeys, or both?
So basically, the technology would help very much. One very essential, that every organization, very essential dimension, is to have governance, the right governance of the customer experience. Because if you keep it as an option, or you keep it by incident, or you keep it operational, manually operational, it will not happen. You will keep on following on cases, and it will be thousands of cases. You will not be able to finish. You're talking about a service provider who has millions of subscribers, and if we think across board, so many banks, car manufacturers, etc., they have so many customers. The thing is to use technology in order to embed the customer experience governance. So how do you create these use cases? How do you introduce? We have very newly launched concepts that we have pursued, which is customer experience lab and the customer experience command center. These concepts that we have embedded, we have used technology to monitor all what is happening, all interactions with the customer, and to raise flags by exception. Whenever there is an exception to the basics, to the right basics, there is a flag that is being raised. So for example, a key customer or a high value customer is waiting more than 10 minutes, for example. This is going to be automatically escalated, and until it reaches maybe to the highest level in the company, that's fine, because this is an exception that should not happen. We should be delivering the right service. So capitalizing on technology to build customer use cases, customer-centric use cases that are to be governed systemically, so that the norm is the right, and the advancement is where the art will come to couple the art and the science of customer experience together towards customer experience excellence.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, Hany. We appreciate your time, and looking forward to hearing about it more when we see you at the CX Live show in November in Dubai. But until then, wishing you all the very best, and looking forward to hearing fantastic stories very soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it, and looking forward to meet you in the event.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.